Hello and welcome, I'm Charles Aite. Our first story, interest rates have started going up by marginally as the challenges within the fiscal economy reflect on the monetary economy. According to auction results from the sale of treasury bills, interest rates of the short-term financial instruments went up slightly. Charles Nixon Yeboah has more in this report.
Despite its position of keeping interest rates low, government has now been forced to revise its notes by accepting a slightly higher yield for the short-term financial instrument. This is to help meet its target by attracting more domestic investors. It also suggests that the domestic market is still strong despite the recent downgrade of Ghana's creditworthiness by Moody's and Fitch. According to the auctioning result, the interest cost went up by about 0.20%. Government, however, secured a little above 1.51 billion cedis but accepted 1.50 billion cedis from the sale of the T-bills. Government will be happy because it marginally overachieved its target. The 91-day T-bill was the highly patronized. About 957 million cedis was purchased by the investors. However, with the rising interest rate of T-bills, cost of credit will soon start going up, therefore increasing the cost of doing business.
Helping us to discuss is Chief Finance Officer at the Valley View University, Dr. PEPRAH. Grateful, Doctor, you could join us. Does this situation indeed reflect challenges within Ghana's fiscal economy?
Good afternoon to you and your viewers. I'm grateful for the call to share my thoughts on the issue of the increased rates in our interest rate in Ghana. This will not come to us as a surprise because as a country, government needs a lot of money to operate. And what government needs to do, and which is happening, is to accept higher interest rate to be able to entice investors to invest in government bonds. So this has come at the right time. But the impact of this situation is that it's going to have an increase in cost of doing business in the country, especially when it comes to cost of production. Also, we will see banks not giving money to production entities, but rather have a leeway or a flexible way to invest in government bonds. This normally is termed as a structural weakening when the economy becomes in a way that the commercial banks are not prevent or refuse to lend money to industries to produce. The other effect that this will bring is that there will be low motivation when it comes to production houses to also produce more. You may also see that companies with excess liquidity also investing in government bonds. And in fact, it's really going to affect production, and also it is going to lead to an unemployment situation because industries will not have the fund to employ. And when it happens that way, our unemployment situation is going to be worse. Already we have about 50% of our graduates who are unemployed because there is liquidity shortfall in the country. And what we can do as a country to remedy this situation, in my opinion, we should have a cap on commercial banks' operation in terms of interest and their profit that they can generate. And because I know commercial banks, they have to increase the shareholders' wealth by making more and bringing more interest. But we should be able to push our commercial banks to also focus on industries. So I'll recommend that probably central bank will advise that the portfolios of commercial banks should be looked at and not to have like 90% of bank portfolios or invested in government bonds. When it becomes that way, the economy is going to suffer. So we need to free up space a little bit to get money to entities who want to borrow. The other effect is that the interest rate going up is going to lead to inflation in the country, which is something common to all of us that we all know. That the higher the interest rates, the higher rate of inflation, And this will also going to make worse our exchange rate situation. And at the moment, we have seen all of these. And so it's good that government, people are giving money to government and interest rate is going up. But then the ripple effect is going to be very dire for us as a country. And we may have to work on the structure of how government borrows.
And we shall keep a keen attention to this development to give you viewers update as and when we do have them. But Dr. Williams PEPRAH, we're grateful for your analysis. He's Chief Finance Officer at the Valley View University. Away from that, the Executive Secretary of to the Vice President, Augustine BLAY, has reiterated that the National Identification Card, which is the Ghana card, has met all the requirements for an e-passport. According to him, this move places Ghana at a vantage point in ongoing plans towards the worldwide implementation of e-visas. He spoke to MFR Pau on the probe, stating that the fact that the card will allow card-bearing Ghanaians for now to enter the country from across the world without necessarily showing the booklet version of their passports. Take a listen.
With the Ghana card, you can go from within ECOWAS. You can go to Ivory Coast, you can go to Togo, you can go to Benin, you can go to Nigeria, because the ECOWAS standard, so Ghana is already part of the protocol. Yeah. And that's why on this card we have ECOWAS and all this stuff. Why? Because the protocol says this is how our cards should be designed, and we've done that. But so you have multilateral agreement among ourselves. Today, as the Vice President stated, for anyone around the world to come into our country, we, Ghana, we recognize this because it's our document. To go from Ghana to Turkey, right? To go from Ghana to US or UK, first, you have to answer the visa question. If a visa is required, because the standard does not allow for electronic visa to be put on there, they still have to put your visa on your passport. So you still need that passport to go there. So until we get there, we will not be able to have that conversation yet, but this in the near future.
So far, or starting 1st March, when you are coming in, you can use this, but when you're going out.
When you're going out, if you require a visa, if you require a visa, you have to get your book to have your visa stamped in. For countries that do not require a visa, where Ghana has bilateral agreement with, like the ECOWAS countries, you can go with your card and go to all these different countries.
Okay, but with ECOWAS, we all know that there are standing protocols, free movement amongst others. So the question I was asking is about whether we have bilateral agreement with these other countries outside ECOWAS, because I know that Parliament has to ratify this. Yes. Have we gone through that process?
No, we've not started the process. So it's a process. First, you have to build your infrastructure, allow your chip to be recognized, allow now for a central verification, authentication of your card, allow for people to come in with the Ghana card.
But we've announced that we're doing it on the 1st of March. We are only in February, just a few days more in February to go. Then how then do we go ahead, announce that 1st March we're doing this without this ratification from Parliament?
No, okay, I think I need to clarify something. The 1st March is not for traveling outside of Ghana. Okay. It's just setting a date for all the airlines at all the airports
to start
accepting by 1st March.
Can they do that without this bilateral agreement?
Yes, because it is Ghana as a state telling the airlines receiving passengers that when a passenger is coming into Ghana, we as a state says this card, Ghana card, is an acceptable travel document as approved by ICAO because we understand that. So we'll receive it. And so everyone coming into the country, a Ghanaian with a Ghana card, they will allow him or her to board and come in.
Well, however, the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, has clarified that it was not its responsibility, it is not its responsibility actually, to certify the use of a state identity card for international travels in place of a passport, stating in a tweet that any decision to accept such alternative travel identity document is made by the receiving state itself. And you can see on your screen the excerpt of their statements to clarify developments surrounding the Ghana card being used as an e-passport. Well, let's bring in Sean Mendes. He's an aviation expert. We're grateful, Sean, that you could, add on to your analysis, add on to this debate with your analysis. How easy, if not sustainable, can it be for the Ghana card to replace a passport in international travels?
Thanks for having me, Charles. How easy is it? Well, that depends how easy it is for the government of Ghana to conclude the bilateral arrangements with other countries. As the spokesperson for the vice president just said, this is a long-standing protocol that has already existed within ECOWAS. So within multilateral blocs like ECOWAS or the European Union or similar, this is pretty commonplace already. For example, in the European Union, you can travel between countries simply on the basis of your national ID card, similar to the Ghana card and ECOWAS. So however, when you start looking further afield, when you start looking at countries which have visa requirements, countries which don't have a large volume of trade and travel, the bilateral agreements become a lot harder to put in place, and the work required to put these in place in terms of the technological implementation and so forth also doesn't have as much of a return on investment. So it's the first step in a long journey. Probably in 15 to 20 years from now, you'll see probably 40 to 50 countries more signed up to this. But as of now, traveling within ECOWAS has become a lot easier because of this, and it's the first step.
Indeed. Well, government is confident that this particular card will, can be used to travel to over 100 countries, even though ratification is currently, being considered in Parliament, first of all. But how feasible can this be, and where does the future travel lie when it comes to the replacement of passports with biometric identity cards within the African framework?
Well, I think that the long-term plan for most of this kind of paper-based documents, like paper-based passports, is for them to go electronic. And ICAO actually publishes a very, an interesting but yet boring technical publication called Document 9303, which lays out the specifications for any sorts of travel documents. It lays out how a passport should look, how the data should be captured on a passport. And it also lays out the specifications for what they call the e-passport chips. And what Ghana has actually achieved right now is that it is, I think, the 79th or 80th country in the world whose chips that are being embedded in the Ghana card and that will be embedded in future Ghana passports now meets the standards of ICAO Document 9303. That now lays out the framework by which Ghana can conclude these bilateral agreements with these other countries, because Ghana's, what they call the encryption key, essentially, the public key for this has now been logged with ICAO. So other countries who then sign up to these bilateral or multilateral agreements with Ghana can decode the data that is captured on the Ghana card, on the chip in the Ghana card, and be able to verify the identity of the holder. So it's not going to be something that's easy to forge. It's a big step forward in terms of technology and security, but in terms of practical applications for that, we're still many years away from that becoming widespread around the world.
Indeed, we shall just, look forward to that becoming an instrument to travel in the short to long term. Sean Mendes, grateful that you could join us with your analysis on this development of the Ghana card being used as a passport in the future, an e-passport as it is. Well, there's been calls world over for a new paradigm when it comes to female participation in the sectors of science and technology. We've seen the International Day of Women and Girls and Science start a new conversation on the impact that women and girls play in Ghana's economic development and the need for deepened collaboration between private and public sectors. But how can this be achieved? Joining me to discuss are Dr. ENYONAM KPEKPENA. She's president of the Women in Engineering Ghana. She also doubles as the Program Management Office Lead of ECG. Also joining us is Louise Damptey, a final year PhD researcher at the Department of Engineering and Innovation at the Open University UK. Ladies, welcome to the program. I want to start off with you, Louise. You are aiming to actualize as an engineer. As a woman in STEM, tell us your journey. How has it been so far?
Well, it's been a learning journey. It's been a learning curve. One of the things I always said was that there was no conscientization of these things when we were growing up. We were just trying to be better at what we do, also learn as much as we could on this journey. But we realized that going up the ladder, there's been a lot of these experiences that we've had and challenges that we've had as women in engineering. So I think it's been a learning journey, learning and unlearning things, and also adapting to new methodologies that are popping up in the terms of engineering. And as a woman in engineering, little things we didn't realize were going like against us. Like typical example is going for a research fund. Now, women form about just 20% of researchers. And if you're talking about women in the engineering field, they form about just 12% are women in engineers. So when we come to going for research grants whatsoever, definitely the total population doesn't tally. So we realized that all these things were little factors that were affecting us along the way, but we didn't really, we're not conscious of it. I'll say that. So yeah, it's been a journey. Having my schooling in Ghana, I attended University of Ghana Engineering School, where I was one out of 2 girls in a class of 47. I mean, you don't realize the support that you need up the ladder. You realize that we just needed to survive, and we just needed to make the best grades.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Dr. ENYONAM, how can we deepen women's participation in STEM? We've heard from Louise the way she started having to be in a male-dominated class, just being one of the, the other female, just 2 of them in a male-dominated class. How can we deepen women's participation in this field where you operate?
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the listeners. It's a great privilege to discuss how we can improve STEM education for females in the country. I will say that at the women in engineering level, we've been having a few interventions here and there. We do a lot of career guidance and counseling sessions for students who are in the basic schools and also in the secondary schools as well. Like last month, we had a partnership with UNESCO where we had a career development program for university students studying engineering. And we also have actually adopted a number of schools, 2 schools right now. We are working with basic schools, Oyster Academy in Accra and Kumasi. We are actually working with them to we've realized that at the basic level, that is when we can get them to develop that interest. At the secondary level, most of them have chosen their courses, and it's very difficult to get them to change their courses. So our target has been the primary schools. And for the secondary schools and the universities, we want to make sure that we retain them in the engineering field. We've had a number of interventions at our level. We have had career guidance and counseling sessions with the basic students, basic school students. We also have these science sets that we actually teach them how to use to be able to develop circuits so that whatever engineering, whatever science related courses they are studying, they'll understand and appreciate it. Normally, when they are studying science, most of the information is theoretical, but with the practical sets, we give it out to them, we teach them how to use it, and it generates their interest in science. When you talk about some of the interventions that can be done at the national level, I will say that at the basic school, girls should be given access to the science tools like the science kits that we talked about. And also for the girls in STEM in the secondary schools, I think we need to give them some quotas so that for admission, so that they'll be encouraged to do that. At the tertiary levels as well, the fees could be reduced to encourage females to study engineering. We need to ensure that girls are given the opportunity to visit engineering institutions, to be able to do internships and also gain practical knowledge in the courses that they are doing. We also have worked basically in mentoring most of these students. So at ECG, for instance, we have a branch of women in engineering there, and we have been working with Millennium Development Authority to do a mentoring program over the past 3 or 4 years with the students. And with that, we have a database of those we have mentored, those we have trained. And when there are vacancies in the organizations, in engineering organizations, we put their names forward so that they can be considered for interviews. And some of them have been employed through this process as well. So those are some of the interventions that at the women in engineering level we we are trying to do, or we've been doing so far.
That's great. But even as the world, celebrated women in engineering, what kind of message do you have there for young girls in this particular field, especially when you have actualized basically in STEM?
Okay, so
okay. So Lois wants to talk.
Yeah, Lois, you could come in.
Yeah, I want to use myself as a role model. I always say that representation matters, like Dr. Engineer ENYONAM said. You can't be what you cannot see. So basically, I'm a representation of what an engineer is. So if I've been able to climb up to this point where I'm still learning, it's still a learning journey for you that you can take on and be ready to go for it. And I mean, forget all the obstacles that come your way. Make sure you maximize all the opportunities and efforts that you get as a woman doing science. And yeah, you'll be great at it. Yeah.
Lois, so grateful that you could join us. Doctor, please end for us your message to women and girls out there aiming to venture into STEM.
I'd like to encourage them. I'd like to say that science is not what they are normally used to hearing, that it's a difficult subject. They should have this attitude, this positive attitude, this mindset that science is doable, and they should take a look at most of the females in STEM right now. We are available as role models to them, and they should be passionate about what they are doing. They should be determined. They should ask all the questions they need to ask. They should seek support. There are opportunities available for females in STEM right now all over the world. And the sky is their limit. They should work hard and study hard, and they will be able to make a great, great, great impact in society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. ENYONAM KPEKPENA, the President of the Women in Engineering Ghana, as also to Louise Damptey, a PhD researcher engineering department at Open University, UK. Well, just many thanks once again, ladies, for being on the program.
Thank you.
Great, great. Just before we leave, the cost of mobile phone repairs and prices of accessories have shot up in Kumasi. So we have this special report for you. Take a look.
Tola has been repairing phones for more than 10 years. Before Android and iPhones flooded the Ghanaian market, the popular Yam or China phones came in handy. The Yam phone accessories were cheaper, but lately, the accessories of Android phones are expensive. Tola points at the importers for the persistent increase in phone accessories.
No man boy because they say no more found money back and me so many processes. Test involve this is kind of no about or man and count on Butum. But no man was my idea. Yet, say by when you're doing or mocha.
Batteries, headsets, holsters, shells, pouches, screen protectors, drop and shock protectors are few accessories recording increase in prices. This has deterred a lot of people from repairing their phones. Some phone users spoke to Love Business on how the cost of repairing phones have shot up.
Typically, I say, oh, charge and quality. We see no quality from we now holding from to win out terrible. It's a work on and wow, and basically, 3 days, I say.
For instance, I have a phone that costs around 1,000. If it spoils and I'm supposed to repair it at around 400 cedis, I think if I have used it for a year or two, looking at the value of the money I used to bought it, I think I wouldn't go for repairing.
Before when you not crack it, now me quite and we say even 15 cities. We say we papa 20, we you okay? Almost some can you 10. And the price no, we say 20, we say 15, we say 10. Until you, it's the one person na wako. Ebi atanya, obeto azo ni be 1 month na assign.
Samuel PEPRAH, a dealer in phone accessories, says his suppliers lament depreciation of the cedi against the dollar. He takes me through the price change of some commonly used accessories over time.
For instance, a hands-free like OPK, at first I used to sell it at 8 cedis, but now I have to sell it at 12 cedis, else I'm going to run at a loss. Charger like e-power, at first it used to be 20, the original ones, because we have so many types of e-power chargers. So the original one at first I used to sell it at 20 cedis. Now I have to sell it at 30 or 25, depending on the customer, depending on the quantity the person is ready to buy.
Samuel does not want to lose his customers. He is therefore compelled to adjust prices to attract patrons.
When they come, they want to negotiate. And here, if you come and negotiate, you want to bring my business down. So there is no way I will also listen to the way you want to negotiate with me. Because if I do that, I'm also going to run at a loss.
This situation the businesses have observed has deterred a number of people from repairing their phones. Traders are worried this will cripple their businesses in the coming years.
Because we work on a cover charge room, maybe a Samsung A20 or Koto screen bear 2.5. All the workmanship 50 cedis, 300 cedis for a screen.
Well, that'll be all for the marketplace with me, Charles Aite. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com, where you get updated on developments in the world of business and around the world. Many thanks once again for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.